Hey, we're here inside ICAST, and I'm talking with Mike McNett, who is the captain of Team USA. Ice fishing is kind of an unusual topic for a lot of anglers out there, especially when we're in Las Vegas. It's like 110 degrees outside. But this sport is growing, and there's a lot of things that people don't know about it. Mike, let's start off by talking about some of the misconceptions with ice fishing. What do you think is going through people's mind if they've never tried it before?
Any of my friends know that it's definitely not a grumpy old men thing. You know, we're not out there eating bacon and smoking cigars
Right.
and drinking beers. I mean, we're searching for fish. You know, we're drilling, and it's an aggressive style of fishing now.
So you're not necessarily just sitting down and waiting for a fish to come to you?
No, we're using the techniques that we would normally use on the open water. You know, we're using marking products and using the flashers and drilling and finding the fish. I mean, it's not just sitting in a shack and trying to keep warm anymore. We're out there trying to catch fish.
Absolutely, and just like with any style of fishing, you have to find the fish. That's always the hardest part of fishing, and that means moving around a lot. So just because you're sitting on the ice, you're not sitting still. You guys run a lot of times, don't you, to get to the next spot?
Especially in the world competition, you know, these guys are nuts. They're using hand augers. We're not really at that point using any of the tools that brought us, you know, to this point. But there's nothing like being in a competition and looking up and the guy sprinting across the ice for another spot.
Absolutely.
You know, to catch fish.
And I was actually there last year and this year. The United States ice team competed at the world level. They go through the tournament circuit all year in the United States. They make it to the North American Championship here in the U.S. But last year and this year, we competed in world competition amongst 11 countries. And what Mike was talking about, world level does not allow you to use electronics or power augers, but those are the tools that get you guys to the point of world competition, right?
Yeah, it's like stepping back when the world competition comes in, but you know, using the best equipment that we have in the United States, it teaches you how to find the fish, where to go, and when you're brought to the level of just using a rod and an auger, it makes you think more. You know, it makes it a lot easier to cope with the situation.
So Mike, do you have any tips for ice anglers?
Well, I think for us the most important is education, and you know, you always have the great thing about ice fishing is you can walk up to anybody and ask them what's going on. And I think for anybody out there who wants to take their kids out and wondering what to do, my tip is go to a bait shop, talk to your local bait store, and just walk right up to the guys that are catching fish and ask them what they're doing.
It's an extremely friendly sport.
Oh, it is. It's not like, you know, if we're out fishing on a lake somewhere, I'm not going to jettison my boat over and say, hey, what's going on? You know, what's the tip of the day? You know, you're going to get shot. But in ice fishing, you know, everybody's friendly, and it's really nice. It is.
Mike, I've spent a lot of time with you guys on the ice. They are hilarious. There's always laughter and practical jokes being played. Do you have any stories that stick out in your mind that are like super crazy?
Not super crazy, but I know that you know, I'm well respected for my honesty, and you know, people come to me in the tournament series because I don't fish anymore, and they ask me what's going on, and it just reminded me of a time when it was actually in '05 when Tony and I won the national championship, and we had found the pot of fish that was going to win the tournament for us, and we had covered some of the holes, and one of the guys walked up to us and he stepped in one of the holes, and you know, you got to be stone-faced, you know, and it was the walleye bite was on. It was just on in that area, and I just kept going with that, you know, and then after the tournament, he was like, yeah, real big spotted walleyes you caught in that.
Yeah,
so.
Covering the holes. That reminds me of the competition in Poland last year when Team USA competed in Poland for the World Championship, and we learned as a team, as American fishermen, there's a lot of that stuff going on with covering holes and bombing holes, and strategy is important in that, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's a whole different ballgame. I mean, they said watch out for the Russians, you know, because if you're catching a fish in an area, they will drill around you, and they use bait bombs, and they'll just bomb the area and make all the fish go, and we're like, whoa, wait a minute, we're just here fishing. You know?
We're not used to that type of stuff in the U.S. I remember they would, in competition, they would drill halfway through the ice, and you'd go to drop your line down to take somebody's hole, and it wasn't all the way through the ice, and you're like, and those 3 seconds really cost you.
Yeah, in that venue, it's definitely time is of essence.
Well, I know typically on the ice there's a lot of fun going on. At world competitions, a little more structured, a little more, everything's on the line, but what a sport. Thanks for your time,
Awesome.
Mike.
Thank you.